Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. And welcome to the studio, all you chickens of the forest. Come on in and sit down and get ready for some amazing news. Can you guess what the amazing news is? No, it's not about the resurrection of Christ. It's about our lessons together. Who's good with a calculator? Okay, work it out. This is week 31. And we have 5 lessons a week. That means that Monday's lesson was lesson 146. Tuesday was lesson 147. Wednesday was lesson 148. Yesterday was lesson 149, which means that this lesson, today's lesson, is lesson 150. Just imagine, 150 lessons. We're at the century-and-a-half mark. Good Godry! That's another notch on our belts. 150. Okay, so, if you're all ready, let's start the 150th lesson. And we're off. The 150th lesson is in motion, and we're still talking about Easter. So, let's get all Eastery. Okay. Now, yesterday, I'm sure you all went off and made hot cross buns. Were they good? Did they taste nice? Did they look good? Did they look like this? Or did they look like this? It doesn't really matter if they looked nice or not. The main thing, the important thing, is that they taste good. If they taste nice, then it's a success. Okay. And on we go. Okay, so today, as I said, we're also going to talk about Easter. But today, we're going to look at the different things that people do at Easter in the UK and in Hungary. Now, in the UK, before Easter, the shops are filled with chocolate Easter eggs and chocolate Easter rabbits. The Easter bunny isn't very popular in the UK. But in the USA, people dress up as the Easter bunny and give chocolate eggs to children. Sometimes the Easter bunny looks, well, sort of normal. And sometimes the Easter bunny looks not very normal at all. Thankfully, they don't really have the Easter bunny in the UK. Phew. Now, when I was a kid, we'd have an Easter egg hunt on Easter Sunday. First, we went to church, and then we went for a picnic. Now, before we went on the picnic, my mum and dad prepared the eggs. Now, when we eat eggs, we prepare them in different ways. We can fry eggs to get a fried egg. We can poach eggs to get a poached egg. We can scramble eggs to get scrambled eggs. Or perhaps we'd like an omelette, so we make an omelette. Now, there's another way we can cook eggs, a very common way. We can boil eggs and get boiled eggs. When we boil an egg, we can choose a soft-boiled egg or a hard-boiled egg. If we boil the egg for a couple of minutes, then the eggs will be soft-boiled. When we crack open the egg, the inside of the eggs are runny, liquid, not solid, like this. If we cook the egg for longer, for 10 or 12 minutes, for example, then you get a hard-boiled egg. Now, when we remove the shell, the egg inside is not liquid, but solid. Now, when we organize an egg hunt, we need hard-boiled eggs, not soft-boiled eggs. My mum took the hard-boiled eggs and painted them with different colours. Then my mum and dad hid the eggs. When they were ready, the Easter egg hunt began. All the children had to find as many painted Easter eggs as possible. The child who finds the most painted Easter eggs is the winner. Now, this is a good time to think about Hungarian Easter traditions, painted eggs. Now, when my mum or me and my sister painted Easter eggs, it was a very simple idea. It wasn't complicated. We just dyed the shell of the egg a single colour. The Hungarian idea for painting Easter eggs is a little bit more complex. When we think about Hungarian decorated Easter eggs, then we know that someone took a long time to finish the decoration, to decorate an egg like this. We know that first we have to remove the egg from the eggshell. We have to do this or the egg will go off and start to smell. If the egg goes off, then nobody will want to go near it. So, we have to blow the egg out of the shell. To do this, we have to make two holes in the egg, one at the top and one at the bottom, like this. Now, after we make two holes in the egg, then we put the egg to our lips. You do know what lips are, don't you? Okay, so those are lips. And when we blow, we purse our lips. When we whistle, we purse our lips. And when we want to blow an egg out of an eggshell, we purse our lips and blow. Okay, so after we get all of the egg out of the shell, we have to wash the shell out. If any of the egg stays inside, it'll start to rot, to go bad. And then, when it rots, like all rotting food, it'll make a horrible smell. And nobody likes horrible smells. Okay, so we've blown the egg out of the shell. We've washed the shell to make sure that there's no egg left inside to rot. Now we have to wait for the egg to dry, and then we can start to decorate it. We can start to paint the egg. Okay, so painting eggs is something that we do in both countries. Although the Hungarian tradition is a bit more complex than what we did with eggs when I was a child. One big difference between Easter in Hungary and Easter in the UK is the Hungarian Easter tradition connected to women and water. This is a problematic area for the English language. We don't have anything like this tradition, and it's an area of the English language which is very weak. If you speak to people about this Hungarian tradition, or if you read about this Hungarian tradition in English, then you'll find the word sprinkling. Well, let's have a look at the verb to sprinkle. Most of the time, we use a noun which comes from the verb to sprinkle, a sprinkler. Now, a sprinkler is something which sprays water. Maybe you have a garden sprinkler in your garden. So a garden sprinkler is something you connect to a hose in your garden to water your lawn. Now, we use the verb to water when we're talking about flowers and plants. In English, we never say, I'm going to sprinkle my garden. That sounds stupid. We always say, I'm going to water my garden. We never ask, did you sprinkle the plants? We always ask, did you water the plants? Sometimes we can see sprinklers in shops or offices too. Now, this sprinkler is different, isn't it? This sprinkler does the same thing. It spreads water. But this sprinkler is put into buildings to stop fire. The water in the pipe is under pressure. The pipe is full of water, ready to go. If there is a fire in the room, then the little glass bit breaks and the water is released. and the sprinkler sprays the water all around the room, putting out the fire, hopefully. Okay, so those are the sprinklers we use in English. Normally we only use the noun, a sprinkler. We never normally use the verb to sprinkle unless we're talking about cooking. And when we're talking about cooking, we normally use the verb to talk about dry things. I sprinkled seeds onto the rolls before I baked them, for example. So, this is where the problem starts. We have a verb in English, but we rarely use it. So when we use it to talk about this Hungarian Easter tradition, it sounds alien. It sounds awkward. But, I can't think of a better word. Sorry. If we look at the original tradition, then it gets a bit easier. The original Hungarian tradition wasn't about men with small bottles of cheap perfume. The original idea was about trying to drench young women with buckets of cold water. Now, here we could easily use the verb to drench, or we could use a synonym, the verb to soak. They both work. They both mean to wet completely. If you walk home in the rain, you get wet. If you fall into the Danube, then you get drenched or soaked. Okay, so for the original tradition, the one that we still might find in the countryside, we can say, as an Easter tradition, young men in the village seek out young women and drench them with buckets of water. This tradition is probably connected to pagan cleansing rites. Now, with that sentence, everything works. It sounds good. It's a nice sentence. I still don't like to use the verb to sprinkle. But, as I said, I can't think of anything better. So, I suppose we have to say, nowadays, and especially in towns and cities, the tradition of drenching young women with buckets of water has been replaced by men and boys sprinkling cheap perfume onto women's hair. Like I said, I don't like it, but that's all we have. It's an area where English is weak. And so, we slowly come to the end of our week of Easter-related English. I know that we're actually at the end of the Easter period. Good Friday was 1 week ago, and probably by now there are no chocolate Easter eggs left in your home. Hopefully, you all enjoyed our Easter lessons as much as you enjoyed Easter. Well, as I said, we're at the end of this week of English. We've come to the end of Easter English. And next week, we'll be back to normal, regular English. So, have a great weekend. If you've got any chocolate Easter eggs, make sure you finish eating them. And if you've got any ham left, do the same. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Same time, same place, here on M5. Don't forget to check out all the vocabulary lists at www.m5tv.hu. And if you missed the show or want to watch some of the old videos again, you can find all of our lessons there too. Okay, that's all from me. Have a great weekend, relax and enjoy yourselves. And I'll see you all again next week. See you later. Bye.